Hello and welcome to the Discriminating Gamer, the board game review show that, like Mikhail Gorbachev, has a map of the Philippines on its balding head. That's why I wear the hat. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever wanted to play a game that encompassed the entire Cold War in 10 minutes? Well, now you can with Twilight Squabble from AEG. In Twilight Squabble from AEG, two players, of course, take on the roles of the superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union during the Cold War. This is a two-player card game. It moves pretty quickly. Here's how it goes. There are two cards that go out in front of you. You have the Balance of Power card, which is kind of a tug of war. You've got, of course, the space in the center, then three spaces on either side, red or blue, indicating who's in the lead, the Soviets or the Americans. And then, of course, you have a second card, which is the Space Race, where you place two cubes of your color, red for the Soviets, blue for the Americans, as they move along and try to advance toward have the best spot on the Space Race. And, of course, one player can take the Space Race card, which is next to that, and claim that if he is ahead in the Space Race. Players also receive a deck of 17 cards. Now, there are 5 categories of cards, each with 3 cards each. And these are the different eras of the Cold War, kind of the early Cold War, mid-Cold War. They're not called that, they just have the years printed on them. But you have the different eras with 3 cards each. You also will have an agent and a double agent card as well. You put the agent and the double agent card in your hand, and at the beginning of the first round, you draw the first 3 cards. This is the first era. Now, of course, you've got different point values on these. These are activity cards, and the different activity values are 1, 2, and 3. Now, after you have drawn your first hand of cards, you go ahead and you place 1 card beneath the Balance of Power card and 1 card beneath the Space Race cards on your side. So each player is going to have 2 cards out there. Now, after you have placed the cards, then certain things are going to happen. First of all, you reveal whether your card under the Balance of Power card is an agent. If that card is an agent, you can see what the other player's card under the Space Race is, which is going to give you kind of an idea of what cards maybe they've been playing under the Balance of Power card. Now, if one player plays their agent card and the other player plays the double agent card, then the original player with the agent, they essentially have to discard their agent. They're out of the game. The player with the double agent can then look at the opposing player's Space Race card. If 2 double agents are played, then nothing happens. If one player plays a double agent, they can also retrieve their agent from the discard pile if that has already been played. If you both play agents, then you can both take a look at the other player's Space Race card. Players may also engage in socioeconomic warfare by placing cubes on their cards. Now, these cubes are, I believe there's only up to 3 of them that you can gain during the course of the game. Now, if you look at the number of the activity card you played, if you put more cubes in that number or less cubes in that number, then it essentially is added to that number. So if you put down a 1 and you put 2 cubes on there, that card is now worth 3. However, if you put the exact number of cubes on there as that card, say you played a number 2 card and you put 2 cubes down on there, it negates the value of that card completely, so it's like you're playing a 0, which you may want to do from time to time. Next, you reveal activities. You show the cards that you played underneath the Balance of Power card, and then you can see that and the socioeconomic impact that you placed on that card. Now, this time, each player should have 1 card left in their hand. They can attempt to counter the activity card that was played to their opponent by playing that card. Now, at the bottom of the activity card, there is another smaller number. If that smaller number is equal to the larger number on your opponent's card that was played, you can negate their card. Otherwise, you can't do anything. At that point, you're going to measure the Balance of Power. Who has the most socioeconomic points, you're going to subtract the difference, and then you're going to move along the Balance of Power that many spaces. Next, you're going to look at the Space Race. You're going to flip over the Space Race cards, you're going to look at any cubes there, and you're going to see who has the most. Whoever has the most gets to advance 1 space on the track. They gain certain advantages for getting to a new space. However, if it's a tie, you look and you see if either card has a little spaceship symbol up in the corner. If it does have the spaceship symbol, that is the tiebreaker. Next, we have 1 activity card left. You can look at the activity number, discard the card, and gain that many socioeconomic cubes for that number. There's a couple of ways you can win or lose here. First of all, if during the Balance of Power, checking the Balance of Power, if ever you get too strong and your cube actually makes it all the way past the DEFCON numbers, you have triggered a nuclear war, you lose. So you got to be very careful. You want to be ahead of your opponent, but you don't want to be too far ahead of them, or you'll trigger a nuclear war and lose the game. Next, if that has not happened, if mutually assured destruction has not happened during the game, then after the end of 5 game rounds, you see, is the cube on the blue or on the red? Who's ahead? Who's ever ahead wins the game. If it's in the middle, however, whoever is holding the Space Race card, who's ever succeeded the Space Race, they win Twilight Squabble. Twilight Squabble is a very quick card game. Like I say, you play it, it's going to be 10 minutes tops. once you know what you're doing, it's a very, very quick game. This is a game that was not even on my radar, and Zach Zumbrennan, my friend, gave it to me for Christmas, and I started playing it, and it's really a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed Twilight Squabble. Of course, it doesn't match the grandeur and the high stakes and the time that Twilight Struggle takes, which is kind of the definitive Cold War game for many reasons, but this is just kind of a lighter, quicker, I don't even want to say version of that game, because it's not a version of that game, but it's got the same theme, and it's still quite fun to play this game. The game is essentially a glorified rock, paper, scissors when you really look at it, but that's okay. It's still fun because there is strategy there. You've got to outguess the other guy. You've got to outthink the other guy, and you can use little clues to see what they're doing. And okay, I want to go far, but do I want to go too far? Do I need to play this so that I can get a little further over there, or do I need to negate my own card because I'm getting too far ahead and I'm in danger of triggering a war? All of these things are happening and going through your head, and so it is fun, it is intense for as light as the game is, and I really enjoyed that. Thematically, I do have a little bit of a problem. There's that idea if you're getting too strong, you're going to trigger a war and kill everybody. The United States gaining strength in the Cold War was actually how we won the Cold War. That was our ace in the hole, and that's what we exploited to win the Cold War. So thematically, it's a little wonky, but that's a stupid criticism. It's a great game. I really, really enjoy Twilight Squabble. Had a heck of a lot of fun with it. So the recommendation for the discriminating gamer for Twilight Squabble is absolutely buy this game. Really, it should be on your shelf. Thank you once again for joining us today on The Discriminating Gamer. As always, we ask you to please leave a comment for us on YouTube, on Board Game Geek, on our Facebook page, or on thediscriminatinggamer.com. We ask you to please like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and follow us on Twitter. We are The Discriminating Gamer, and you know, ladies and gentlemen, whenever I'm at a restaurant and the waiter asks me how I would like my steak cooked, I always tell them, as Ronald Reagan would say, well...
Please somebody help me on my feet again, and I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know where I've been. Please somebody help me on the solid ground. It's a long time, and I'll be dying. Once a year I wind up in the band.
Oh, there's a game, oh, what you play it for? It's for having fun and learning about the Cold War. Your mind like a mental pack of sharks. We'll be putting people in their place like Karl Marx, spreading influence across the globe in one of the best stories ever told. Twilight
Squabble.
Play it on the double. Communist troubles in Twilight
Squabble.
Some Jews would rather stay home with their girlfriends and snuggle, but I'd rather go and play Twilight
Squabble.
Oh.